Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Today I got another great watch for you guys, and it's another watch review slash show and tell, and this one's by Nubeo. Now, Nubeo is a brand that, in a nutshell, they basically make two different versions of watches. They make their space-themed, and they make their ocean slash dive watch themed, right? So very similar, just different themes between each category. It's a fun company. They make a lot of really cool products, a lot of really cool watches, and I've really been enjoying sharing these with you folks. I've seen a lot more guys reviewing these on YouTube. There's definitely been a little bit of a little bit more brand awareness around this particular brand. And Nubeo is under the Dartmouth branding, so they're kind of like their parent company, if I'm saying that right. And Nubeo is just one of the brands underneath that main line. So whatever you get under Dartmouth, you're going to have the same level of quality. There's always going to be little small differences, but I've been really impressed with what you get with Nubeo, and I think it's just, again, the main, for me personally, and for a lot of you guys out there as well, the main part, like the main aspect of wearing a watch in watch collecting is the fun of watch collecting, right? It's cool to have different variations and different types of watches in your collection that are affordable, that you can wear and enjoy, right? I don't take it too seriously. These things are meant to enjoy, right? In all honesty, if I had to spend $10,000, $20,000 on a luxury watch, I'd never want to wear it, right? Because I think when you spend that much money, you're always worried about, oh, I don't want to put a scratch in it, you know, resale. And I think that's a lot of times when guys get luxury brands, they're really worried about it. Unless you're really well off, here's the way I kind of compare affordable brands and luxury brands. Affordable brands, just like when I get a watch, whether it be, you know, sponsored or whether it be something I bought with my own money, is I wear it to enjoy it. That doesn't mean that I'm going to, you know, necessarily crawl around the concrete under my car if I'm changing the oil and wear my watch. But for the most part, they get worn. I don't take them off, and I know that they're going to get little scratches here and there. And I get them, buy them, and I receive them. I'm never going to get rid of them. You know, they're always going to be in my collection to enjoy and wear. Whereas on the flip side, when it comes to a luxury watch, guys who get those a lot of times are always concerned with, oh, I got to be able to recoup my money if I ever get rid of it. And there's more of like a worry and stress involved with buying a watch like that and then owning a watch like that. Ooh, what if somebody steals it? You know, something happens to one of my watches, it's not going to break me. It's not going to be the end of the world. If I went ahead and had a $20,000 Rolex watch stolen, I'd be pretty upset about it, right? And I think most of you guys would too, no matter where you are in life, as far as with your, you know, your success or your, you know, your bank account. So Nubeo, another great brand, and when I do these reviews, they're not overly technical. They're basically show and tells, and you know, just kind of take this with a grain of salt. These are my opinions, and you know, I have a pretty good idea of what you get for your money across all brands and all tiers. And I can tell you, in my opinion, there's really no reason to spend $20,000 on a watch, even $5,000 on a watch. It's really absurd. But again, always buy what you like and what makes you happy, but don't get it twisted. Just because you spend that much more for a watch, you're not going to get a $10,000 quality difference. It's just not true, and anybody who tells you that is frankly just lying to you. So let's talk about it. So Nubeo, here's one of the Nubeo boxes. Some of the other Nubeos, depending on which one you get, they might come in a dive case. Little hint, we'll be reviewing this one next week probably. Or they come out with the slide-out boxes. What I've noticed is generally the watches that are more of either a silicone strap or some kind of canvas strap generally will come in the flatter box. The ones that come on bracelet come in the standard, more square clam style case or box, right? That particular one comes in the dive case. So when you open it up here, kind of a nice presentation. They're very colorful. You can see Nubeo. This one here is obviously space themed because you have the planet Earth. It appears to be the planet Earth. I believe that's what that is. Slide it open. Kind of like almost like a rubberized sort of box, blue and orange, very sea related on this color, but you know, I think a lot of times they use these watches even if it's the sea themed version, so just kind of keep that in mind. Open it up, pretty basic, Nubeo, limited edition. I believe all their pieces are limited edition. Your hang tag. They do give you a little watch, a push pin remover tool, which I've removed already. And this particular watch came with two straps. So let me first get this out of our way here, and I'll show you the strap. But I'm not going to, you know, take the strap off for the video, but any of the Nubeo watches that I've reviewed, they come on, this is like, I believe this is like a rubber or silicone, and they're all, at least the ones I've reviewed, are universal. So if you get a couple different Nubeo watches, let's say you go ahead and get the Viking, usually the straps are interchangeable, which is kind of nice because if you buy one watch and it comes with a couple straps, you can, pick a different color and then have a lot of different color options. So pretty basic. I'm not a huge fan of silicone, but I haven't seen any problems with the Nubeo straps already. And it does smell, silicone kind of has a certain odor to it, just like isofrane. They actually, if you ever look at an isofrane strap, which I think, in all honesty, in the rubber style straps is really the best one you can get. Like they come on the Aqua Dive watch that I own and reviewed in the past. They actually sent them with like a vanilla scent, so they actually have an odor. So if you ever smell a strap and it smells like vanilla, it's probably isofrane. But pretty basic. In this particular occasion, I went ahead and put on the other strap. And this is sort of like a Velcro canvas type strap. It's almost like I'm not sure what it's actually made out of, but you have the Velcro. It's almost like what you'd find on some of your kind of canvas like military style straps, right? You basically just kind of weave this strap through the push pins. In this case, a lot of times with those NATO style straps, you actually can weave it in. With this, it's so large you have to pull out the push pins and just kind of feed it through and then put the push pin back, if that made any sense at all. So stainless steel clasp on it. You have the Nubeo branding, of course. We have a little bit of a, I believe this one here is a replication of something related to the Orion. I believe it's the Orion satellite, I believe. And kind of different for my taste. You guys know I'm more of a bracelet guy. I would have loved to have seen this on a bracelet as well. And I may mess around, put this on shark mesh at a later date. But a very cool looking watch. And believe it or not, I chose the green because I don't have anything green. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know I'm not really a fan of green. But lately, I did see another brand watch that was really calling me. And so when I placed my order with Nubeo, I went for the green version. So pretty cool. At least it gives me a little variety in my collection. I did have, the only other green watch I've had was the Green Face Delta T watch, the heavy armor, and I ended up selling it just because I never wore the watch. And with this one here, a little different. You have that green plating all around the whole watch. It's a very cool looking piece. And this strap, is very similar to what you're going to find on a lot of the new, the Swatch collaboration there. Sorry, car going by. What is it? The Moon's watch. So kind of fun. They do make it in a couple different colors if the green is not your cup of tea. But not as many colors as I would have thought they would have made, considering Nubeo does make a lot of variations. They have this one here, which I just call the green. And again, this is the Orion Automatic Limited Edition. If you want to get, let's see what else they got here. The two other variations, only two. You have a blue, which is the petrol blue, and then Supernova Black. So it's a black plated case, a little bit of gold accents. The blue is a blue case with a little bit of black accent. So again, I'll put the link in the description where you can check them out for yourself. I think the green was the nicest looking one of all of them, but that is subjective. So what do you get with this? So it is an automatic watch. You do have a skeletonized face. Let me get a little closer here so you can see what you're getting with. No bezel that rotates or anything like that, but a large wrist presence. I believe this is about a 50 millimeter. Let me see what they actually state directly on their site. Yeah, so you have a 50 millimeter case diameter, and you have a 17.1 millimeter case thickness. So nice tall wrist presence. I think this would absolutely look killer on a bracelet. Even if you put it on like an inexpensive Ally Express bracelet, very cool. I believe the strap width is 20 mils on this. So one thing I like about Nubeo is that let's see what they got here. Is that 20? Looks like, a little more. It looks like 24 millimeter. So as long as you're sticking under 24 millimeter, you can usually find aftermarket bracelets and straps for these watches. 24 is starting to get a little bit hard to find. 20 and 22 are the most common, but Nubeo does usually put the 20s and 22s in a lot of their watches. It just makes it easier to kind of change it up. I know some of the Invicta watches, when you start having a lug width of 30 millimeters, you're going to have to get something custom. Should your silicone bracelet or strap fail, a lot of times we don't change these up just because we want to change them up, or accessorize them. Sometimes, these rubber straps, and I haven't had anything fail at Nubeo, but I have had other brands like Sterling and a few other companies, they just deteriorate. They dry out, and that's the end of them. So that would be really upsetting to go ahead and get like a giant Sea Hunter with a 30mm lug width. Have that happen. Not saying it will. Haven't had it happen yet, but I've heard people have those issues, and you know, good luck trying to find a strap for that. You know, a lot of times if you go back to Invicta, you're going to be paying more for the strap or the bracelet than the watch was worth. So with this, at least you're going to be able to find something. 24 is somewhat universal. They do state that that strap is actually rubber, so they don't say silicone or anything else, just plain old rubber. You do have a sapphire lens with anti-reflective coating, which is a checkbox for many folks. I know I always talk about the checkboxes, and checkboxes for me is 3/16 stainless steel and an automatic movement. That doesn't mean I won't wear quartz, right? I like quartz as well, but I always gravitate more towards the automatics. I like the idea of having, you know, a movement that you don't have to worry about taking the back off and changing the battery. I like the fact when I pick it up, I can set it. It's always going to be ready to go unless something malfunctions, and I haven't had that happen. Remember, watches are like anything else. As long as you keep them sealed, you're not opening up, you're not abusing them, you shouldn't have to maintain anything in the movement. I know luxury brands tell you, oh, you got to get serviced every year. You know, that's, you know, when it comes to service, that's like about making money. That's to bring people back, to spend money doing these unnecessary services. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but I'm just saying you're going to pay for it. With something like this at these price points, you just don't worry about stuff like that. So what else? 10 ATMs of water resistance, and you know, they do have the open heart there, but I don't really consider this an open heart because you actually have a full skeletonized face, although you do have the open heart window. I mean, generally when you have an open heart, that's the only open section of the face. So kind of odd they describe it like that, but very cool. They don't list the loom, unfortunately, and I'm sorry, you know, and they don't list the movement. They just say Japanese automatic. All I can tell you, folks, is it's, you know, I know that the automatic movement, the type of movement, is going to be a deal breaker for most folks. So I really hope at a later date Nubeo can, you know, put these movements on their website and be straight up transparent. Not saying they're trying to hide anything or anything like that, but people want to know what movement is in there. You know, whether it's an H35, a Miyota, wherever the case may be, we want to know that. And I really can't tell by looking at it. All I can see here is that on the exhibition window, it just says automatic and 24 joules. As far as the crown, it is screw down, and it has sort of like a twist gear-edged bezel, almost like a candy cane bezel, I'll call it. Very nice grip, but again, you know, I know like a lot of the watch guys, when we review watches and talk about them, it's kind of the same spiel, just like in the fragrance community. You know, I mean, are you really worried about the grip? Like, is it something, like, it's not like hanging onto a barbell or hanging onto like some, you know, the handlebars on a mountain bike flying down a mountain somewhere. You know, like, you don't really need a lot of grip. You know, I think the only folks who really would, you know, really worry about that is, or maybe divers who are really using a watch for a specific purpose and they need to have a specific grip. But if that is a concern to you, I mean, this sucker just has a really nice grip on it, very easy to turn. Your fingers really dig into that, almost to the point where I was like, I'd like to see that kind of shape on, you know, on a slide to a firearm. It'd be great. 'Cause sometimes, like the firearms I have, like the Canic, it's really kind of hard to get a grip on that. But I digress. But very cool looking watch. Again, kind of NATO style strap. I like it. I like the fact that they kind of did something a little outside the box there. You may not like the Velcro, you know, strap. It may be your cup of tea. I don't know. But, you know, the thing is you can always change it out, throw on the silicone, or throw on the rubber, excuse me. So that's really about it. Price point is here, $940, which, you know, I don't really, when I do these reviews, I'm not going to tell you what you should spend your money on or what's considered value, because value is subjective. Just like for me, I don't see value in luxury brands. You know, other people may. So one thing I want to mention too is the back. You can't see it with this particular strap on here, but it is an exhibition window and it's slightly tinted blue. So you will be able to see that movement on there, and maybe you can decipher which movement it actually is. But again, I'm not too concerned with it, right? I have lots of Nubeos in my collection, lots of Dartmouth brands, and you know, it's been, I'd say, probably a year or so, and they all work great. I really enjoy wearing them, and they're a lot of fun. And again, if I in case you missed it, the Orion. So very cool. Again, space themed. I will state too that one thing I hope that Nubeo, on their newer models when they design watches, I would like to see them integrate more of the theme into the watch, although it gets kind of tough to do that. But when you look at this watch, when I think of a themed watch, when I look at it, I want to look at it and say, what am I looking at? What's the theme here? And especially when I know okay, it's the Orion. And basically it says here, bold, striking, captivating, the Orion blends the best of watchmaking with a spaceborne aesthetic that brings us closer to magic, mystery, blah, 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 right? So the Orion, I believe, and for you folks, go ahead and correct me like you always do. For you folks who know all about, satellites and space and study that kind of stuff, I believe the Orion is a satellite. Matter of fact, since we're just here together right now, let's just see what the Orion is. Oh, I know it's an audio brand, Orion satellite. Pretty sure it's a satellite, but yeah, so it is a satellite. I'm sure it's more than just a satellite, but I believe that's where the theme comes from with this watch. And you can kind of see that based on this little kind of branding on the side here. This little, it looks like a satellite. And when you look at not just the Orion, but many satellites kind of share that. They have on this particular one, you have the 4 different solar panels coming off it. So with that being said, if you take the band off, or the strap, there's really nothing that ties this into the satellite anymore. So it would have been really nice to have something on the face that would, just kind of tie that theme in a little better. I think Nubeo can do a little bit better in just kind of really taking the theme further into the build, right? But overall, still an awesome quality watch, still very cool, and it's been awesome, the collaboration we have. So, all right, so let's start on the wrist, see what it looks like. Now I'm about 5'8", I weigh about 182 pounds, and I have a 7-inch wrist. This is what it's going to look like on a guy my size, my height, and my weight. But getting back to value, that is subjective. I do know that that Nubeo does do some pretty insane deals, but they have this listed at right now early spring sale, extra 50% off. I'll put my coupon code in description. Feel free to use it. But I'm not sure if this is 50% off. I'm not sure if you get 50% off the 940 because there's no coupon code. And let's just see. I think that's just specifically on some watches. But when you do the math on some of this stuff, let's see here. Shop with us during early spring, get extra 50% off on everything. So just stating, no code is needed. But when you go to let's just add one to their cart and see what happens here. Add the cart. Let me see what it does when you go to checkout. All right, so that's pretty cool. So I'm glad I did. So when you go ahead and add it to the cart, it'll automatically take the 50% off. So as of today for spring, not sure how long this will last, you're looking at $470. So, and I believe my coupon code will work on top of that. So just got to keep that in mind. Make sure you use it. But getting back to the look, pretty cool. Great looking watch. Definitely something that's going to get noticed and definitely will spark some conversation with folks who enjoy watch collecting. I like the fact they have a huge Nubeo right in the bottom. It really stands out. Some folks who don't like branding and cry about that may not like that. One thing I wish they would have done though is just kind of integrate this or design this a little better where maybe this strap wasn't quite as long here, and because you're starting to cover up the one thing that ties this to the Orion, right? This little kind of patch they have on here. So it'd be nice to kind of have that a little bit lower. And I have a 7-inch wrist, so if you're a guy who's got 8-inch wrist, you'll be able to see that much better. But if you got a smaller wrist and you're rocking this on a 6-inch wrist, which is a common size, you're going to start to cover up that particular little logo on there. So I think they could have done a little bit better job in just kind of decreasing the size on that. I understand that you want the watch to fit lots of different wrist sizes, but they could have made it maybe have that covered at a 5-inch wrist, and then you'd still be able to see it on a 6. But still, just a very small gripe. Very cool looking watch, and again, very fun. All right, folks, well, that's about it. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, do not hesitate to drop me a comment or drop me an email. I'm always here to help you guys out. If I don't have the answer, I'll try to get you the answer. And as always, let me know what you think about this watch. Have a fantastic weekend and take care.